All right, so if you want to be what's called a shoulder maximalist, or someone who truly wants to get the absolute most out of their shoulder training, here are a few things I would think about and what you guys could actually put in your training right now to improve how you execute your shoulder movements. So first things first, and this is probably the most obvious aspect of all this, is understanding what the three heads of the shoulder actually do, because they each have different functions, and having an understanding of this will actually be very important for you if you are trying to program properly. Because yes, you could always just spam lateral raises and spam rear delts, and would your shoulders look good? They probably would look decent. But if you really want to get the absolute most out of your shoulder training, to actually grow them as much as possible, having a full understanding of what they do is going to be incredibly, incredibly important. So for me, a staple on my upper body days, at least right now, is doing some kind of wide grip rowing. This is because traps right now are kind of a weak point on me, but interestingly, by doing this, my rear delts right here have actually come up a lot. Why? Because the rear delts are actually responsible for some of the functions that are going on in this movement. So having a good understanding of basic biomechanics, it's not super hard. I mean, it really is just looking at the muscle, seeing what it's doing, right? So if I'm here and I'm warming up for my row here and I'm actually paying attention to what's happening, as I pull back, you'll see that the shoulder is actually going to extend. That extension is the rear delts at work. And obviously I'm getting some scapular retraction, so that is going to include a whole lot of traps as well. But if we look at the actual function of the rear delt, it is to extend the shoulder. So from here to here, or from here to like here, is mostly rear delt. And then obviously pulling the arm away from the body, or abduction, pulling the arm away from the body. So that's really what the rear delts have going on. So if you're doing a good movement, like a really good kind of trap row like this, naturally you're going to get a lot of rear delt involved. So with this movement, like a good portion of it, the whole portion that is not scapular retraction really is going to be rear delt. So as you guys see, last warm up there before my working set, that is a really, really good exercise for the rear delts. So even though it's not an isolated rear delt fly, this is a very effective way, a great compound movement to really hit the majority of your back. So I include rear delts with back because it pretty much is. So when I do my rep here, you guys are gonna see this is 190. Last time I actually did 193, I think, for about 5. So I'm gonna go 190, try to get 6 or 7, seems about right. Pretty easy, convenient way to do this. So we're gonna watch my working set here, try to keep the form really, really good as best I can. I've had an issue with actually retracting my scapula because of the slight scoliosis in my neck. So I do the best I can. So we're gonna give this a go and see how it is. So let's tie in here, and let's tie in here. And here we go, 190, and try to get around 6 or 7. Here we go. Okay, all right. That felt like 6 with about 1 in the tank, plus or minus. You know, there could always be a better rep in there, or maybe 1 less rep, or 1 cheated rep. That's about the ballpark we're looking for. So that was really good, and we're kind of gonna keep going here into the rest of the session as you guys see how else I would program for my shoulders. All right, so next up on our sort of absolute best shoulder growth guide here, we're gonna wanna focus on some kind of abduction, or pulling the arm away from the body here, because that is what these side delts are actually responsible for. So horizontal abduction, or pulling the hand here away from the body. So when we're doing our lateral raises, whatever it is, whether it be cable or dumbbell or whatever else, it's gonna be nice to make the movement hardest where it is in the bottom, like this kind of stretch here, or the middle. When you're all the way up here, your side delt really isn't able to produce that much force. Your traps are getting involved, and that's kind of the main pitfall of dumbbell, is that when you get all the way up here, you get a lot of other involvement. So I personally always try to go for machines like this, where I have like a chest pad, I have a whole bunch of options to remain as stable as possible. Now the problem is, some of these machines are actually kind of light, so they'll get to a point where you really have a hard time progressively overloading on it. But if you could really focus on going heavy, very, very heavy with machines with good form, and not over exaggerating any part of it, you'll do really well and you'll get very, very strong. My side delts at this point are definitely my strongest body part just from putting them first. So for like a year and a half straight, I literally just did a machine like this first thing in my workout, training it unbelievably hard as hell, and they've become my best body part. So it's very, very important because when I first started, my delts were basically non-existent. So when we load up this machine, I got the stack, I got a 25 here, and again, I was actually talking about this with TNF when I was training with him in Texas. You know, kind of a big theme that we were going over is that yes, a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle, and a stronger muscle is ultimately a bigger muscle. This is a pretty strong lift for me. If I do something that I'm not as good at, like say a tricep extension, my numbers aren't quite as impressive. My friend has really, really good lats, and sure enough, when we're rowing, he rows more than me. When we're doing something like tricep extensions, I do more than him because his triceps are not that strong. When it comes to rear delts, if I'm doing like a rear delt fly, my numbers are not going to be as good relative to the rest of the population as my side delts are going to be, just the way it is. So if you really care about growing big shoulders, they have to get strong. So, you know, I watched the video from Jeff Nippard, and I like Jeff Nippard a lot, but I wasn't a huge fan of this video personally because he was talking about how his rear delts began to grow. He felt when he went lower in weight, like he went in like the 25 rep range, and I'm like, probably not the case. He probably just had some edema or swelling after his lift to where his rear delts looked really good, and he probably, from whatever time period he was talking about, just got a little bit leaner where his rear delts became more visible. But Jeff Nippard, his rear delts did not shrink. He made a video saying they shrunk. I don't think they did, personally. I definitely don't think 25 reps is the solution for that. But enough rambling, we're gonna do our side delts here. So we got 135 plus 25, 160 here. And we're gonna try to do as much as we can here. So I'll probably get 5 or 6 if I had to guess. Here we go. Okay, all right, that was definitely 5. I probably had 1 left, so 5 with 1 RIR. I'm gonna keep the weight the exact same on my second set, and I'll try to do 5 again next time here with 0 RIR, so that should be pretty nice. And then, you know, besides having a good wide grip row or some kind of rear delt fly accessory, your staple lateral raise, your staple good, stable, well-executed lateral raise for a couple sets, and then some kind of front delt press if you want, that is pretty much your delts. They're actually not a particularly hard muscle to train. And again, when you're programming for them, you really don't need more than 2, 3, maybe 4 different total exercises to include them. But again, if you guys haven't already seen down below, I have my split building blueprint. You guys can go over there for only $9, learn how to actually write your own training splits. It's a 30-page ebook, plus some videos and some plug and play splits as well. Ridiculous amount of stuff over there for only $9. So check it out down below in the description. I spent like a month of my life on it. I think you guys are gonna love it. But we're gonna rest up another minute and get into our second set. And because our central nervous system over the course of your lift kind of goes down, your perception of effort goes up. So there are a few kind of chemical reactions that explain why this happens. I don't know the in-depth analysis of how it happens at a chemical level, but basically what happens is throughout the lift, your perception of how hard it is to complete a movement goes up. So no matter what you do or tell yourself, the more reps you get in throughout the lift and kind of the more work you put in, the harder it gets to really execute things well. So that's why it's very important to kind of put your gas, like your really, really hard sets and the sets that are most important, put them near the beginning, man. Put the stuff that's really valuable to you at the beginning, or if you're gonna really gun it and push something to failure, take something else a little further from failure. It's kind of all about managing that fatigue. It's managing your CNS, how much load you're actually putting on your CNS, because it's only capable of doing so much. You will reach a point in your lift where you're literally just spinning your wheels. That will happen. I'm not quite there yet, but if I did say 4 or 5 more sets, that would happen. I think I've done about like 10 sets so far, or 9. I'll probably do 1 more here and then 1 set of biceps, and that's it. So you'll reach a point where you just start spinning your wheels, man. And you know, I've had to tell clients this in person too, when they'll be like, oh, you know, you want to do an extra set? You want to do a 3rd set? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't, because I'm at a point where I'm just spinning my wheels. I'm not able to, you know, continue increasing my performance. I'm not performing anywhere near where I should be. And you'd almost feel it. You could almost feel it where things start to feel very, very laborious. And once like easy stuff starts to feel laborious, once like a bicep curl starts to feel really, really laborious, time to cut it, man. Time to cut the lift, dude. Time to be done. So anyways, we got our last set here. Then we'll do one set of biceps before I leave. So here we go, 135, and let's come up. Oh my goodness. Oh God, it was awful. Some in the comments was like, "Oh Matt, do you fake your noises?" And I'm like, I only wish I fake my noises. I do everything I can not to make noise. It's horrible. Yeah, that was 135 plus 25, so that was pretty good for 5 again. And we'll call it a day, man. I mean, this video is pretty much it, man. You got your rear delts, you throw in a rear delt fly accessory kind of deal. So if you like your wide grip rowing, but you want to throw in one set of a rear delt fly where you're focusing on actually extending the shoulder extension, by all means do that. It's a little tough to kind of separate that from triceps sometimes. So again, think about, you don't want to have too much elbow extension. You really want more shoulder extension. So that's something a lot of people will not be able to separate very well. And then for front delts, I mean, it literally is just being kind of flared out and pressing. And you can pretty much set up your program however you see fit. I don't really think this video even needs more clips, to be honest with you. I think that's pretty much a wrap, man. I mean, throw in a front delt press if you like. They will get some indirect stimulus from an upper chest press. But if you want to really, really get more front and side delt, just come out to the side and press up. Get a nice stretch at the bottom and press up. That's literally it. So hope you guys found this useful, and I'll see you guys soon.